Okay, so now we're here with the angle of elevation and the angle of depression. So this is the only new learning today, but all the stuff we're doing is still great just to practice, because practice makes perfect. Actually, that's false. It's perfect practice makes perfect. So, angle of elevation. So these angles always start looking out straight. So think this is a human being. He's got a nice smiley face. And he's got some shoes on and a backwards hat. All right, so he's looking straight out. The angle of elevation is looking straight out and then looking up. All right, that's the angle of elevation. Now, this is a common mistake, and we'll go more in depth on this in a little bit. But for the angle of depression, you're looking straight out and then down. All right, that's the angle of depression. All right, so be careful. A common mistake is to confuse the angle formed by the vertical line. So I'm reading right here. It's easy to think that this, it's easy to think basically what I'm highlighting on the right here. This angle is not, I'm just gonna put DEP for depression. All right, that's not the angle of depression. That's a common mistake. All right. You always look out first, whether it's an angle of elevation or depression, and then down. All right, that right there is the angle of depression. All right, and here's some dude chilling, wearing a hat again, and he's super happy because he sees some money. All right, don't get your funny up, get your money up. All right. So we got some word problems just using this, practicing trig more and more. Again, just for fun, I'm going to write SOHCAHTOA. And that's going to help us progress through. All right, so Kristen is swimming in the ocean and noticed a coral reef below her. The angle of depression is 35 degrees and the depth of the ocean at that point is 250 feet. How far is her direct distance from the reef? All right, so we're going to sketch a picture. So this is super important. All right, so here's a scuba diver with their fins on, snorkel, goggles. All right, water. All right, coral reef. This makes me think of Finding Nemo, one of the most overrated Disney movies of all time. It's not that good of a movie. All right, and coral reef's got all kinds of things on them. All right, so that's a coral reef. Now, the angle of depression, what's that? It's going to be you look straight out and then down. All right, so it's this angle right there. That's 35 degrees. All right. Now, the depth of the ocean at that point is 250 feet. All right, we want the direct distance, that right there, x. All right, so this is what we're focusing on. All right. So we got that triangle right there. All right, so again, same thing as we've been doing before, just a word problem now. So we got the opposite side. We need to find the hypotenuse. So O and H, that's going to be sine. And again, maybe you want to try these problems on your own. See how they go. And then you can check and watch my videos. Or maybe you just want to follow along. All right. So that's the trig function, opposite over hypotenuse. So it's going to be 250 over x. Then cross multiply. X is sine 35 over or equals 250. And I got to divide both sides by sine 35. So x equals 250 divided by sine 35. And that's going to be about 435.7. we'll do 0.86. All right, that's it. So drawing a picture, setting up the trig function, cross multiplying, and solving. Again, a bunch of repetition. Hopefully you're starting to feel pretty good about all this trig stuff right here. Let's see. Let's just continue to go. All right, the angle of depression from the top of an apartment building to the base of a fountain in a nearby park is 72 degrees. All right, so here's an apartment building. It's a big, tall apartment building. Then there's some fountain down here. And there's even a little bird in this fountain, taking a little bird bath. All right. We got some purple man at the top of this building. So the angle of depression, so remember, you always look straight out first and then down. So it's this angle right here. That's 72 degrees. All right. If the building is 78 feet tall, so we'll just say 78. What do we need? We need, let me pick a different color. We need this distance right here, saying how far away is from the fountain to the base of the building. This is what we're looking for. All right. So a couple things we can do. There's a couple ways to do this. One way, probably how we're going to do this, is just to translate some of the lengths. Like instead of saying x is down here, let's put it up here and call this x. All right. And then put 78 over here. And then we can focus on this right triangle. So I just kind of rearranged, slid my angles. There's a couple ways to do it. That's just the way I picked how to do it. So in this case right here, with respect to angle 72, we have the opposite side, we have the adjacent side. So that uses tangent. All right, tangent, TOA, SOHCAHTOA, tangent is opposite over adjacent. So tan 72 equals 78 over A. Then we're just going to cross multiply. A is tan 72 equals 78. Divide both sides by tan 72. And we're going to get 25.34. Okay. Keep cruising right along. So a boy is flying a kite, 300 feet of string, and has an angle elevation of 38. So what does that mean? This dude will be green. He's literally sick. All right. So to make it a little bit more simple, the kite, he's pinned it down with his foot. And again, this time he's wearing a cowboy hat. We got a green cowboy. This is bizarre. All right. And here's a kite. I don't think I've flown a kite since I was like 4 years old. All right. So 300 feet of string. Actually, hold on. I didn't read some of this. It might have helped to read. The string is 3 feet above ground. That's important. All right. And it has an angle of elevation. So remember, that's straight out, then up. All right. So that's going to be 38 degrees. How high above is the kite from the ground? So we need this x, and then we need to add the length of 3 at the end. All right. And remember, this was 300. All right. So in this time right here, another sine one. I think we've done everything but cosine today. I don't know about you guys, but cosine's my favorite trig function, so hopefully we get a couple cosine problems before we're all done, because this is opposite hypotenuse. So we're going to have sine of 38 equals x over 300 x equals 300 sine 38. So the opposite side, 300 sine 38, is 184.7. And then, so the total height is, we gotta do 184.7 plus 3, because remember the string was 3 feet above the ground. This angle is made here. So we found this opposite side of this right triangle. Now we need to add 3 feet to get all the way to the ground. It's 187.7. And that's it. Cool beans. All right. A ladder is leaning against the wall. It makes an angle of depression of 74 degrees. So this one's going to be a little bit quirky. What do I mean by that? This is going to be a very undetailed ladder, but it's leaning against a wall. All right. And then the angle of depression is going to be this angle right here, 74 degrees. All right. So the blue thing's the ladder, the black thing's the wall, gray is just the reference for to make the angle of 74 degrees. The foot of the ladder is 6.5 feet from the wall. So it's saying this is 6.5 feet away from the wall. I'll make that even a little bit more pretty. All right. So now let's focus on this right triangle right here. The ladder is 6 feet from the wall, has an angle of depression of 74 degrees. How high? X. Well, there's a couple ways to do this. Fun fact, you can say this is also 74 degrees, or you can just say, since this is a right angle up here, then that would be 16 degrees. All right, there's two ways to do that problem. Either way, you're going to use tangent. It's just going to be your ratios different. Let's go ahead and use that 74 degrees using tangent of 74 degrees. The opposite side's x, the adjacent side 6.5. Cross multiply, x equals 6.5 tan 74, which is going to be about 22.67. All right, and a couple things maybe I kind of glossed over. So the height of the ladder is 22.67 feet off the ground. How did I know that this bottom angle is 74 degrees? Well, these are parallel. This is a transversal. So they're alternate interior angles. Remember, they're congruent, so that's one way. Or if I figured out first that was 16 degrees, well, then that's a right angle, so triangle sum theorem. So a couple different ways. That's what I really like about geometry, is once we start to get really good at it, know a lot about it, there's an abundant amount of ways to go about solving a problem. And then last problem right here, we got an airplane. Last problem for this video, we still got a whole nother thing. We got this cool airplane. That's as good as my airplane's gonna look. All right, it climbs at an angle of elevation of 11 degrees. All right, the ground distance, find the ground distance it has traveled. So that's this right here, when it has attained an altitude of 400 feet. All right, so this one right here, adjacent, opposite, another tangent one. Tangent of angle 11 is opposite 400 over adjacent x. Cross multiply, x tan 11 equals 400. X equals 400 divided by tangent 11 equals 2057.8. So again, just a lot of trig, word problems, angle of elevation, angle of depression, a lot of good stuff, and we're going to follow it up with some quick stuff.